House Republicans have once again descended into chaos and paralyzed Congress after they ousted former Speaker Kevin McCarthy, who lasted just 9 months on the job, replaced him with nobody, and then left town. And now some Republicans and GOP pundits are floating the possibility of making Donald Trump the new Speaker of the House. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. Here is where we're at in America right now. Yesterday, a former president of the United States was placed under a gag order by a judge, and it somehow wasn't even the biggest news of the day.
Tonight, the judge in Donald Trump's fraud trial is issuing a gag order against the former president. It bans him from speaking publicly about members of the court staff.
For the first time ever, a former president of the United States was slapped with a gag order.
Yes, this is the first time a former president has been slapped with a gag order, unless you count the time Hillary told Bill to shut up at a dinner party. Did I ever tell you guys about the time I got drunk with Boris Yeltsin? Yes, you did. The last time was, let's see now, 5 minutes ago. Now, this gag order means Trump can no longer talk about court staff in public, although it's very possible Trump misunderstood the meaning of the word gag. So now your dear former president can't do gags? Can't do pranks, can't do goofs of any time. So now if I tell you to pull my finger, I have to legally add, when you do it, I'm going to fart. And that's sad because that takes all of the fun out of it. But that was not the lead story yesterday because, of course, this happened.
For the first time in the history of American democracy and the first Congress of 1789, the Speaker of the House has been removed from his position as the leader of the chamber. By a vote of 216 to 210, lawmakers booted Speaker Kevin McCarthy, throwing the House into chaos and into unprecedented territory.
This is the first time it's ever happened. Republicans have a knack for creating history in the most embarrassing way. It's like saying, hey, the Jets made history. This is the first time in his career Aaron Rodgers has gone a whole season without throwing an interception. And yeah, guys, the Jets jokes are back. When it looked like they were going to be good this year, I was worried because we need Jets jokes. But then Rodgers tore his ACL, and as sad as it was for Jets fans, it was a relief for comedy writers. Is it a coincidence that ACL are also the initials of A Closer Look? I don't know. It was pretty suspicious. So House Republicans are in chaos, although I'm not sure we can call this unprecedented territory since House Republicans are always in chaos. We've been saying the Republican Party is in chaos on this show for 8 years. We just use the same cue card over and over. Wally keeps it on standby at all times. And can I just say, Wally, it is great to be back at work with you. And I did check, you will still get paid extra every time you have a line. And the moment the vote tally was finished was also historic because as far as anyone can tell, it's the first time these words have ever been uttered.
On this vote, the yeas are 216, the nays are 210. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The office of Speaker of the House of the United States House of Representatives is hereby declared vacant.
Cool. So the position that's third in line to the presidency is currently like a roadside motel. Then they adjourned and left town without picking someone. Here's the moment Congressman Patrick McHenry, a McCarthy ally, adjourned the session, and you can tell how mad he is because he really pounded that thing.
The chair declares the House in recess, subject to the call of the chair.
Whoa! Was he closing the session or trying to win a stuffed panda at the county fair? He went after that like a Brooklyn third grader killing a spotted lanternfly. And look, I know they're an invasive species and killing them is the right play, but I think we've all seen a kid doing it with a little too much panache, who makes you think, oh, this is just a starter kit for them. So they fired the speaker, then just left town without picking a new one. It's very Republican Party to take step one without putting any thought into step two. Well, I just sold my apartment. Cool, where are you moving to? Moving? Can I just stay here? No. If you want to stay here, why'd you sell it? Well, I wanted the money. You can't have both. Oh, shh, quiet. I'm trying to think. Did you just fall asleep while you were thinking? Oh, I don't know, man, I'm so tired. Now, as historic as this development is, it's also not all that surprising. Kevin McCarthy has never exactly been the most gifted politician. He's not especially charismatic. He doesn't seem to stand for anything, and sometimes it's just genuinely hard to understand what he's trying to say. Like when he appeared at a Trump rally in 2020 and said this.
I want you to watch Nancy Pelosi hand me that gavel. And I promise you this. I won't bang her with it, but I'll bang the end to the socialism and yes to America.
It's hard to be on stage with Trump and be the one making the least amount of sense. I'll bang the end to the socialism and yes to America. Why does he sound like a print ad for Budweiser in Malaysia? If someone you love ever starts talking like that, you need to immediately call 911, or as Kevin would say, call one, then another one, and then before both of those, a 9. So McCarthy wasn't an especially memorable political talent, and he had to endure all kinds of indignities to climb his way to the top of the garbage heap that is the House Republican caucus, like the time Donald Trump just called him by a completely different name, and McCarthy didn't correct him.
There was progress today. I look forward to solving it.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. My name is Kevin. It's Steve now. Go change your birth certificate or get lost. Now, in Trump's defense, he was about to introduce someone named Steve, but because his brain is just ooze, he misfired and called McCarthy Steve. I think part of the reason is that whenever Trump has to read something off a teleprompter at a formal event, as opposed to just vomiting up off-the-cuff babble about toilets and windmills, he has to get the gears in motion way in advance. The whole time Kevin McCarthy was speaking, I'm sure Trump was standing behind himself thinking, okay, Steve is next. Steve. Wait, who the hell is this guy? Screw it, just go with Steve. Everybody Steve now. Everybody Steve. And that's a flub, that's not a gag, so it's legally allowed. It doesn't violate the order. Never mind. But that's the modern GOP. You have to endure endless humiliation just to get a job that sucks. And that wasn't the last of the many indignities McCarthy suffered. In order to curry favor with the hardliners in his caucus, he had to fly down to Mar-a-Lago for that infamous picture with Donald Trump just 3 weeks after the insurrection on January 6th. He had to smile for a photo with the guy who tried to overturn American democracy and might have almost got him killed. It's like watching the Alien and the Predator team up for a podcast called No Hard Feelings. McCarthy also attempted to portray himself as a serious statesman, prepared for the job of Speaker, but his attempts were not especially impressive, like when he unveiled what he said would be his agenda if he became Speaker, but it was comically thin.
What we're going to roll out today is a commitment to America, and we want to roll it out to you, to the entire country, to know exactly what we will do if you would trust us and give us the ability to take a new direction for this country. What the commitment is a plan. A plan for a new direction. So you know what? We've created a commitment to America.
That's your plan. It's one page. It looks like a leaflet they hand out in Times Square for 15% off at Bubba Gump Shrimp. If you buy deodorant and gum at CVS, you get a receipt that's way longer than that. But that tells you why McCarthy failed and why so many Republican speakers before him have failed, from John Boehner to Paul Ryan. Republicans don't actually have a discernible ideological agenda that they all agree on. There are no coherent policy goals other than cutting taxes for rich people and banning woke Antifa Barbie dolls. And none of those things are popular with voters, so they end up in this nonstop, vicious cycle where a speaker gets elected, a bunch of hardliners demand that he do crazy shit. He says no, then they take him out back and hit him over the head like this. So it all ended in humiliation for McCarthy and his allies, which is fitting because McCarthy had to humiliate himself to get the job in the first place. He basically had to crawl over broken glass to get hired for a job he couldn't even keep for 9 months. Remember, back in January, when he lost the vote for Speaker over and over and over again, and he just had to sit there in shame while the clerk announced that no Speaker had been elected 14 times in a row, like he was living in some sort of David Lynchian nightmare.
A speaker has not been elected. A speaker has not been elected. A speaker has not been elected. A speaker has not. A speaker has not. A speaker has not. Not been elected.
It is happening again.
McCarthy finally got the job on the 15th try after making a bunch of promises, like, for example, implementing a new rule that any one member of the GOP caucus could bring a motion to remove him, which is exactly what they did to him. And even knowing that, he still dared his critics, specifically Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, to try to get rid of him before the vote was called.
If somebody wants to make a motion against me, bring it.
That's right, bring it. And I can promise you this, if you call a vote to remove me, I'll take that gavel and I won't bang you with it, but I will gavel it to make a banging sound. The gavel's the end to Yes America. I'm gonna get replaced. Well, Gaetz and his small band of kooks and weirdos did bring it, and McCarthy is now gone. And because you have to be insane to actually want this job, some Republicans are floating the name of a person who is, in fact, insane.
Sources telling me at this hour some House Republicans have been in contact with and have started an effort to draft former President Donald Trump to be the next speaker. And I have been told that President Trump might be open to helping the Republican Party, at least in the short term, if necessary.
Incredible. Only the Republicans would consider giving the job of Speaker to someone who is under a gag order. It's like hiring a French mime as your new NFL play-by-play guy. Marcel, what do you think of this play the Chiefs are drawing up? I agree, Marcel. Ravens' defense is like a wall. What's that? You have something else to add? Oh, you also want to talk about Taylor Swift? I'm with you, Marcel. I can't get enough of it. Also, I like when Hannity, who is best friends with Trump and talks to him constantly, says sources are telling him Trump is open to it. So Trump told you that? Sources is just Trump's mafia nickname. Where'd I hear that? Oh, I got it from Donnie Sources. But this perfectly sums up the current state of the Republican Party. Usually when someone's in court, they have to call a friend to ask for help. In this case, he's calling from court to offer it. Sean, tell your viewers I'm willing to do it. Hold on, the bailiff is going to take the phone away. Although the funniest example of right-wing pundits teasing this possibility came from Newsmax. The anchor tried to be coy about reporting the news that Republicans were floating Trump as a new speaker, but it was not especially grateful.
So far, there have been a few names, but remember, it doesn't necessarily have to be a member of Congress either.
That's true.
So
could be me.
It'll be very interesting to see who it could be moving forward.
Yeah, no, I think that's an interesting point. I'm glad you brought that up, that it doesn't have to be a member of the House. It could be someone else, maybe rhymes with Trump. Who knows?
Oh, it rhymes with Trump? Oh, please tell me it's one of the clumps. Or all of the clumps. I would love to see Eddie Murphy play every member of the Republican Party at one giant dinner scene. I'm guessing it would look something like this. Hercules, Hercules. That's enough. House Republicans don't have a speaker, and their standard bearer is in court for fraud. You really can't sum up the current state of the party any better than that. In the process, they paralyzed Congress. Basically, Republicans pulled down their pants, squatted over the Constitution, and took a giant, well, I won't say it, but it
rhymes with Trump.
This has been a closer look.